Hi, everyone, and welcome to this month's virtual owners meetup. This session has been pre-recorded with questions pre-submitted by our community. If any additional questions arise, please feel free to add them to the comment section on our YouTube channel or chat with us at rvshare.com. I'm Maddie Bourgeois, the Senior Director of Communications at RVshare, and I'll be your host for today's event. Our meetup today dives into a highly sought after topic: strategies for maximizing your earnings during the 2024 summer season. This is a question we receive often, and there isn't a one size fits all answer. Joining us is one of our product managers, Paige Surman. Paige plays a pivotal role in developing and enhancing our products and features based on feedback from users like you. Today, she'll be sharing her top tips and recommendations for ensuring you maximize your rental income while also answering some of your other pre-submitted product-related questions. Welcome, Paige. Please introduce yourself.
Thanks, Maddie. I'm super excited to be here today. I've been with RVshare for around 5 years now, having the pleasure of starting in a customer-facing role and then ultimately landing in product. So it's been a great experience being able to apply those firsthand learnings to features that exist today. As a product team, we're always looking to take customer feedback and aiming to optimize our users' experience, whether it's in an education forum like the seminar or bringing ideas to life with some of the features we'll dive into today.
So let's start with the basics. Can you walk us through how performance metrics work on RVshare?
Yeah, absolutely. When we say performance metrics, we're referring to a set of metrics we use to determine what kind of renter experience our owners are providing. Today's renters are used to booking travel instantly, so making sure our owners are able to provide a professional experience is critical to keeping our renters coming back and booking with us again. So we look at things like response rate and time, how often bookings are being accepted, canceled, or left expired. The goals that we've set are shown here, and you can also find them on your dashboard at any time. I would say a general guideline to aim for is to respond within an hour to all messages and requests, accept as many bookings as possible, never let your request expire, and avoid canceling as much as possible.
So to clarify, you can find these performance metrics on your dashboard on RVshare, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So how can owners improve these performance metrics so it impacts their listing positively, whether that's in the sort on RVshare or just to get more earnings and bookings through RVshare?
Sure. Having metrics that meet or succeed these goals will positively impact your listing in quite a few ways. The biggest impact is sort, which is the biggest driver of visibility on your listing. So having good metrics directly translates to higher rankings within search, which also means renters are more likely to book your RV. So we also present these metrics to renters on your listing page to help them make an informed decision while picking out the right RV for their trip. So you want to make sure your listing is the best it can be at all times.
Right. And we're looking at these performance metrics because we want, high response rates and less cancellation. So it's a great experience for the renters coming to RVshare. And so performance metrics are super important to pay attention to as an owner. So another important factor to get more bookings and maximize your listing would be to look at pricing and how to price correctly. What has the product side done at RVshare to maximize booking and earning potential?
Yeah, that's a great point. We have a tool that we would love for you to utilize. It's called our recommended pricing feature. So to create those recommendations, RVshare frequently analyzes pricing by taking a look at booking data in your area, as well as the type of RV you own, and then it tailors it to each individual RV. You can find these pricing recommendations in your dashboard or in your calendar on RVshare. They have both base rates and special occasions. So base rate recommendations include rates during the week and weekend. The recommendations are typically higher on the weekends, similar to hotels where demand is more Friday and Saturday rather than during the week. Special occasion recommendations look at high demand holidays or events like Independence Day, Labor Day, where owners can make more money by increasing those pricing because the demand is simply more than the supply. And then you also want to keep in mind that renters are typically planning to plan their vacation a few months out. So updating your pricing earlier is definitely going to help you maximize your earnings.
That's a really good point. And I think as we head into summer and we have these long weekends coming up, and other special events that might be region specific, it's important to consider pricing to remain competitive. And I like your point about the hotels or vacation rentals. They do this to make sure that they're maximizing their earnings potential so they can make the most on these special occasion weekends. And speaking of special occasions, some owners allow their RVs to be rented for non-traditional camping events like festivals or tailgating. I think, as you can imagine, that's a great way to bring in more income when you open up your RV to different types of use cases. So can you talk about how an owner can take advantage of these special events they might have in their area?
Sure. Like you said, with summer coming up, there's most likely going to be some local events that we will encourage you to take advantage of during those times. So you can use our holiday recommendations as a baseline, but it's also good to kind of poke around and look at other RVs in your areas and what they're doing for local events near you.
Awesome. Well, let's get into upgrades. So a lot of owners have upgrades on their listings to increase the overall cost per booking. Can you explain to new owners what upgrades are and common examples that you see on RVshare?
Yeah. Your main source of income is always going to come from your nightly rate, but there are a few ways to provide great renter experience that also help you make a little extra money. One of the most popular ways to provide an additional service to renters is offering delivery. So delivery allows you to save time, and it's a great way to offer an added level of convenience to your renters. You can offer delivery to nearby campgrounds with a set package price, or you can define delivery cost per mile, allowing you to deliver the RV wherever the renter goes. Um, and then another great way to make a little extra money is offering upgrades that help the renter have an amazing experience. So some owners will offer scooters, bikes, maybe kayaks if they're near the water. And then another common one is tank clean out. So the renter maybe doesn't know how to do that or just simply doesn't want to worry about that on their trip. And I think the last point I'll make about upgrades is just making sure you're not charging for things that renters would typically expect to be part of the experience, like linen or maybe some kitchen supplies.
Yeah, every owner I think does it a bit differently. So if you're new to listing on RVshare, I would check out a number of listings and just see how people price their upgrades and or what they provide in the RV already. As somebody who rents myself, I mean, I definitely am looking for more of a hospitable experience where it's just like renting a vacation rental or staying in a hotel. And a lot of times I fly to the destination and rent an RV and don't want to have to think about bringing sheets and linens and towels and things like that, but might be okay with upgrading for bikes or kayaks or something, and paying a bit extra for that. So just really consider that when you're setting up your listing and what you're going to charge for and what's going to be included. So Paige, what is one of your favorite things that owners do offer on RVshare and their listings?
Yeah. I just rented an RV recently in an area that I've never been to, didn't really know a lot about. So I personally love when the owner leaves brochures or maybe a recommendation guide in the RV that, just spells out some local restaurants, maybe grocery stores or sightseeing. Maybe there's a beach that is a little less commonly known. I wouldn't necessarily charge for those guides, but I think it helps really build that experience for the renter. And then, it may be as a benefit when they leave a high review on that. So we do have some resources that we can link in the show notes, but templates on what to include and those are always great to have.
Yeah, those are some great tips. And we'll also link our rental coach offering in the show notes below. So if you're interested in learning more about any of these tools and have more follow-up questions, once again, you can ask them in the comment section below, or you can reach out to your rental coach. That would be an easy one-on-one way to get more help in using these tools on RVshare. So we're now going to use and move into our pre-submitted audience Q&A portion. So we got a question from an owner. It's going to be their first time renting out their trailer this summer. Is there any advice and you can give to prepare them for their first year? Their biggest fear is damage and misuse.
Yeah, there's a couple of things to touch on here. So in terms of learning resources, the owner toolkit has a ton of information on how to be successful. There's also an iOS app that I would highly recommend downloading. It just helps make responding to renters, knowing what's going on with the booking, easy and manageable right at your fingertips at any time. And then lastly, I'll touch on when we think about trust and safety, it's kind of always the top of our list of priorities. So our insurance and protection option is one of the most comprehensive in the market for the RV renter, the owner, and the RV itself. And then we also include roadside assurance in every booking, which is available at 24 hours, 7 days a week. And then an additional bonus is that we vet renters with ID and facial biometric verification. That way, you know the person that's sitting behind the wheel of your RV is actually who they say they are. And then we've done our checks on them as well.
Great. Next question is, why is someone's RV so hidden on the website, and how can I get it to the front of the list or on search instead of in the back? So when you go to that search page, they would like to see their RV at the top, and it's not, at the top of the list currently. So what are some advice and tips that you could give to this owner?
Yeah. We mentioned earlier about the performance metrics and how key they are to success. But there's a few other ways you can boost your listing pretty easily as well. So just optimizing your listing, knowing that a great listing kind of has 20 or more quality photos, a descriptive title, an accurate description of your RV. You can introduce your renters in the About the Owner section, which helps build trust. The more reviews, the better. Don't be afraid to ask those renters for one once they complete their trip. You should consider offering things like delivery or instant book. Like we talked about before, a lot of renters today prefer to be able to book instantly, so that will help boost your RV as well.
Yeah, I think to your point, really optimizing your listing, making sure that it's the best it can be, so that because we prioritize those listings as the top for, again, just for RVshare to be a great place for customers to come and search for a rental. And if you need more help on that, once again, we do have renter coaches that are awesome that can help you optimize your listing and take in all of these tips into account. So next question is an owner that has a question regarding the response matrix. So does it account for messages received during late hours? As an RV owner, they occasionally receive messages for renters at midnight or early morning hours, which they're unable to respond to until they wake up. The result might delay their several hours, and they don't want to get dinged for that. So how do we take that into consideration? And how do they make sure they're not expected to respond to requests 24 hours a day?
Sure. Response time is calculated by taking an average of your 10 most recent messages. So if you're not able to respond quickly, that 10 message average helps offset those late night messages. So we know that happens, and we've taken that into consideration and built out the feature to consider that.
Great. So no worries there. I think as long as you're responding to messages as timely as possible, you're probably in a good place. We have lots of other owners that, take days and days to not respond, and that's not the best marketplace practice. So hopefully that's a helpful tip from Paige. But that wraps it up for us this time. Thank you everyone for viewing this month's video, and thanks to Paige for all the tips and tricks. Like we said, there's going to be a lot of more information linked below. So we'll see you next time.